Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to a very special episode of the Gentleman's Bookshop. I am very excited today. This is my Christmas present for my partner. Thank you very much to you. Thank you very much. And I get to build this into a MiSTer FPGA. This is going to be a long video and there's going to be clips that you've seen before. But I'm going to take you on the entire journey how to turn your MiSTer FPGA into a Commodore C64X with wonderful bells and whistles, including NFC and a couple of other bits and pieces. Stay safe, take care, grab a brew, grab a coffee, and welcome to probably a very long video that's going to be fully chaptered, and all the parts we use to build this product are going to be in the video description below.
So look at this box. This is the box that the C64X comes in. It is a throwback to days of old with the vibrant colours there. You can see the keyboard version that we've got, which is a transparent version there. You've got a quality seal of approval from Commodore on the bottom right hand side. And I couldn't be more over the moon with this. You know, you just burst to want to have a look at this. You burst to want to open the box. The back of the box looks absolutely incredible as well. You know, straighten it up there a little bit so you can see, you know, it's showing the internal components. You would not have had cherry key switches and stuff like that on the original box, but the quality from the front to the back remains throughout, and yeah, it's just absolutely beauty to have a look at. And look at this drawer in here. So you've got an old Commodore 64 logo here with a guy that's actually using it, and it's got the transparent keyboard there. And if we flip over to the top, you know, look at this, an old-fashioned handle, the kind of handles that you saw when you bought PCs of old, indeed Commodores of old as well. This is just a bare bones case, and we are going to open it up and have a look inside. After finally getting the box open, it says, "Welcome to the world of friendly computing." Yes, I hope this is a friendly computer and nothing is broken. This is the Commodore C64 bare bones user guide here. I'm holding the box open because it's going to close shut. It's a really heavy solid cardboard. Inside that little throwaway box was nothing, but it turned out there was a few screws that I found out a bit later. And look at this, the keyboard comes protected with cardboard and an elastic band and a never closing box there. Everything is shipped in such a secure position you'll be very unlucky to have a broken device. Moving the polystyrene from the device, we're going to have a look at what this injection molded Commodore C64X case really looks like. We're going to take it out of its condom, remove the elastic band, and see what we've got here. But look at that, the Commodore 64 logo just pops there, even on the transparent case. And here it is, something that I've been waiting for such a long time. I cannot wait to build my MiSTer FPGA into this device. It's going to be absolutely glorious. It really, really is. And you know, it feels solid. It does the business. It really, really does. You know, on the side here, we've got an empty bay. We'll have to plug that somehow. You'll see a little bit later on in the video. At the back here, in fact, now we're looking at the side here. In the side here, we've got another bay, and this bay here we're going to remove as well because we don't want to see any ports on there. I have my reasons for this. And now on the back, we've got the ATX port as well. That will be blocked by using the ironclad board that we see. And right on the bottom was the official Commodore logo that we saw to say this is an official product. Welcome to my presentation of the MiSTer FPGA in the C64X case. This is the Gentleman's Pixel Club. This is a C64. Let's go on a journey together. So this case here, I got off eBay. A link will be in the description to the seller who sold it to me if you're interested. But this is a C64 case, a replica of the original Commodore 64, and inside we have a MiSTer FPGA. So a quick guided tour of the case. This here is the on-off button and LED to let you know what's going on. So you can control it, you can reset it, you can turn it off from this button depending how you push it here. This port here is blacked out. I've got an STL was created for this to actually block this off. This has two USB ports. I needed them internal. I wanted them internal. So that has now been removed. On the back here, we have got the standard ATX ports that you can see because this is an ironclad system board that you've got in here. And on the back, you've got all your regular ports. This is a fan that connects to the system board as well. That's the label to show that this is a Commodore 64 endorsed product. And this bay here is a custom bay So what we have is we have got tape in here, so we can load games on, say, the Commodore or the Sinclair, whatever we choose, via tape. And we've got an NFC port here as well, which is rather nifty. So yeah, all in all, very pleased with the build that we've got here. This is a sturdy case, you know, it's got a lovely feel on the keyboard. You know, it resembles a Commodore 64, apart from it's transparent, because I wanted the transparent version of it. It's got 5 buttons rather than 4 here, and obviously a PC standard layout that you've got here. But no, everything is as it should be. But you know what is this without some accessories? So with those cables plugged in now, if you look at the front of the MiSTer FPGA, you can see a little red glow there, a little light to indicate that we have got power on, and we're going to turn it on by just pushing this button, and it beeps and everything starts to slowly light up, and boom, there we go. How gorgeous does that look? That really does look nice. But you know what, we need to accessorize just a little bit more. So this keypad device here that I got off AliExpress, you know, some systems, like I believe it's the Coleco and stuff like that, don't have effectively a number pad that's easy to use, because I think it wants you to put in buttons number 1 to 9. Well, there's no number pad on here, so bang, we can put number pads on there. That will work absolutely fine. You know, what do we want for games that use a mouse? Well, you know, we've got this little mouse that we can use over there. That works absolutely fine. But the master controller, the controller to play all the video games, is also present here. So, you know, this is, well, a very pimped out version of a MiSTer FPGA. But let's go on a journey. Let's have a look to see some of these things working together. I have a HDMI screen that probably isn't the most reliable screen to be using, but we're going to swing this very carefully over here and try and rest it on the keyboard in a good place. See, it won't go there, it won't go there. Can you see it there? You might be able to see it there. Yes, you can vaguely see it there. Alright, so the keyboard works, you know, up and down to change things as well. Now, this joypad thing should work as well. If I go function and I do number lock, it might change it into the right thing. It's a bit of a pain in the neck, really, because I haven't really read the instructions too well. But trust me, it does work. Yes, there you go. We can go into an arcade game there, and we can move down and hit return there. So yeah, that's working as it should. Now, if we go back a little bit, we want to test the mouse. So we'll go up here, and we'll go backspace again. No, we'll do return there. And we will pick a computer. Now, there is a 486 type PC that you can use on here, which we're just finding where we are, PC 486. Boom, there we go. And that is booting in, hit return, and that should look quite nice there. Now, in the top area of this screen, you may not be able to see it as I hit the chair, but I'm moving the mouse about there, and yeah, that is the mouse cursor moving, so that works as it should. And then if we flip back to the joystick, that goes up and down as needed, and we can launch whatever games we want. But this button here, it does multiple features. If you push it once, it brings up the MiSTer FPGA menu. You can see that on the screen just present there. If we hit it a couple of times, it will do a reboot of the MiSTer FPGA, and it will slowly boot up. It will be with us in just a moment's time. And there we go. That's the main menu, back to what we're used to seeing. But you know, we want to test other features that we've done on here. So we have basically these NFC cards, these Zaparoo NFC cards that we've got. And there's a slot that we had in the slide here. If we push this all the way in, that will boot Tetris for us. So you can see the card stuck in there, and Tetris goes on. You know, if we want to change a game, so say we want to change to Space Invaders, we'll take the Space Invader game, and we'll basically push that all the way in here. And there is your Space Invaders booted up as well. We can even give it a go if we want to. So let's take the joystick. Alright, off we go. We'll do some shooting in a minute as soon as they appear. So I've got volume turned down on this, but yeah, we are playing, we are doing Space Invaders, we're shooting Space Invaders. And if we want, we can change games to something else. So we'll take another NFC card that we have got prepared, and we'll pop it all the way in there, and we have Bubble Bobble booted up. So yeah, all in all, what a great addition for my MiSTer FPGA to be migrated into this. There's still a couple of other things that I want to be doing on it, but I can say using the C64X case that you saw being very briefly unboxed and putting it together, which you will see a little bit further down the line in this video, but everything we've got works well. You know, there has been no problems in any shape or form. I was expecting a problem on this journey. I was expecting stuff to go wrong, but a little highlight when you have a look at the video, probably the only thing I did do wrong was for the power light. I got the cables the wrong way around. But if you want to turn this off, obviously I can turn it off at the back. I've got those switches here, but I just simply hold that down all the way and it beeps and it turns off. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you want to see how everything here was put together, then please continue watching the video. There is chapter points all through, so you can jump about as you want and use this as a point of reference.
So this is the MiSTer FPGA screen that you see in front of me. You might be able to faintly hear some music as well, because I always have it playing music in the background on the main menu, and there is the main menu. In order to load stuff in, you basically navigate around, you go to arcade, and I don't know, that's load, that's in there. We've got 1941 that we've loaded in there, and it eventually loads in. You get no signal once in a while on the Elgato capture card that I'm using as it changes screens. Boom, there you can see it is loading in. Now, what if we could do something a little bit exciting? So we're going to take one of the greatest Game Boy games that has ever been released, and this is GPC Rally. We're going to take my phone and we're going to hold them together. And wait. Here is GPC Rally loading in. You know, this is by WLS. He created this for the channel. Absolutely excellent, absolutely excellent. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take this card here, and well, actually, what card shall we take? We'll take this card here, and we like the Commodore system. This is a Commodore card here, and we're going to hold it there, and it is going to bring up the Commodore 64. So there you go, here it is, there we are on the screen in all its glory. We're just going to do a couple more of these just to show you a couple of different things here. You know, who remembers Sonic? I think Sonic was a good game. This is a card that we've got here. We are literally just going to hold it to the phone and we will have a Sonic appearing. Now, why are we using a phone for this? We are using a phone for this because the card that I've ordered from AliExpress hasn't arrived yet, and this is a picture actually over on the top of Sonic of the card that I've ordered, and when I've got those I'll be able to build it into the MiSTer FPGA, which is also going to be built into a future product or future something that I'm creating for myself. But we know we love the Sinclair Spectrum. Here is a Sinclair Spectrum machine that you've got here, and I hold it to the phone. Come on, there we go, and in a moment's time we will go into the Sinclair Spectrum core, and there you go, loaded on the screen, working absolutely fine. You know, we can probably move around if I turn the joystick on. Actually no, that went into the main menu. Sonic got that a little bit wrong, but that doesn't matter. You can see it actually works, and we're just going to do a couple more for the demonstration. Phone, guess what game it's going to be? Coming up, it's coming up. That's right, you will know this. This is new Rally X. How could I not have that on a cartridge format? And we'll do one more. We'll do one more, and we're going to got the phone here. We hold this one to it, and it's going to load in Moon Crester. So yeah, this is actually, it didn't load it in then, did it? Oh, hang on, let's try again. Press the scan. There we go, it's going to load in Moon Crester. See, the worst things happen at sea, which is sometimes mistakes when you do videos and stuff like that. But essentially what we've done, what we're doing with this system is we are taking the glorious MiSTer FPGA and we are turning it into a system where with these cards here that you create yourself, you create exactly what you want to be doing here. These cards here will all load particular games, and if that excites you, let's go on a journey to actually see how we did this. So the first thing you need to do is to install the Zaparoo scripts, and the Zaparoo scripts are also known as TAP2 as well, and these go in the script directory. They are not there by default, but they are on my system because I've had to run the demo. I had to do the opening demo that you've just seen. So if you go to scripts and you basically go to update all, and usually you will push down or let it time out for it to install everything. In this case you push up. And the first thing you do is you go to Tools and Scripts, and you've got this one here, MiSTer Extensions Wizzo. So you can toggle that on and off. Mine was on, yours may not be on, so turn it on and do back and then do save. and that will work. No changes to save. It will save your changes if you've made changes, and then we do exit and run, update all. And what this is going to do is install the scripts that were not in your system, so we can then launch them and have the Tap2 service running on the MiSTer FPGA. It really is as simple as that. There is another stage where we're going to be using effectively a phone to do it, and yeah, we'll be using my iPhone here to make a few changes, but yeah, all relatively easy what we need to do. So we'll just let this time out, we'll let this go to the end, and then we'll fade back in effectively at the end of it. So here we are at the end of the installed script. You can see it's sort of chopped off on the left. You can't see everything there, but you can see the last two letters of UE for continue. That's all that matters, because that's what we're showing here. So we're going to hit a key and we're going to go back into the main menu. The next thing we need to do is run the Tap2 script. So you go to scripts, it says Tap2. It is actually called Zaparoo nowadays because it is going through a name change, as I say, which is important to keep re-emphasizing that in case at some point this Tap2 changes to Zaparoo in the title. So Tap2, Zaparoo, same thing. You hit fire on here, and if this is the first time that you are running this, what you will see is a little splash screen that appears looking very similar to this, saying, do you want to have this as a service that runs on startup? You say yes to this, and it will then take you to this screen. It shows the device IP of 192.168.0.225. that is our local LAN IP address, which is used for when we took our phone and we were basically taking the cards and holding them against it, and it changed to a different system, a different game. It's important for that to be right, and we have to put that in our mobile phone application. As I said before, you know, I will be using a proper reader that I will have attached directly to the MiSTer FPGA, so I won't need to use the phone going forward, which is part of a future build that I'm doing, but I've got to wait for the right parts, and I've actually got to wait till after Christmas as well, because what I want to put it in, the missus actually took that as a Christmas present and said, ah, you could have that for Christmas, and obviously gave me the money for it, so I can't do what I want to be doing today. Anyway, let's do exit here, but what we're doing today takes you through the exact principles, the exact fundamentals of what we need to do. Now, we showed a selection of games at the beginning. What we're going to do is we're going to use this Zaparoo program on my mobile phone, and we are going to create some different games, so you can see it going live. You can see exactly what we're doing here, and you know, you'll see it on the screen. You'll see it on the screen. I'll be able to hold my phone up and do it at the same time. So we are going to change to a different system. We're changing to my iPhone. This Zaparoo program is also available on Google as well, and we've also got NFC tools loaded that we might choose to use. So we're going to open up Zaparoo, and it says no Zaparoo devices found. Now remember the IP address I just gave you. We click on the little cog, we click on device address, and we type in 192.168.0.225, and then we click save, and there you go. It has now found my MiSTer FPGA across the wireless network. This is working fine. This is doing exactly what it should at the moment. But what I've done is I've purchased Zaparoo Pro to support these people, and I'm going to click on Restore Purchases, and hopefully it will do it. There you go. So now it says unlock Zaparoo Pro has disappeared, and we're in a good place. Now, first thing you want to do is you want to update your games database to make it easy to program these cards to do what you want. So if we click on Update Games Database, and you can see it popped up there, it's preparing the database, and it's going to reach across to the MiSTer FPGA, and it's going to take a list of every single game on here, and you can see it says Amiga at the moment. That will change very, very shortly to something else. There you go. It's zooming through, and it loads all of this into a database that interacts with this application. So while we're waiting for this to happen, you know, these are the cards that you saw me use here. There is a link which I'll have in the video description below, where you can go online to create these templates, print them out, and I printed them basically to a sticky A4 piece of paper that I cut up, and I stuck each one individually onto the card that you see here, and I'm using black NFC cards for systems, white NFC cards for games, and I've also got a set that's coming through from Amazon as well that's transparent NFC cards. They'll look pretty good for games as well. There's another system one, that's the Sinclair Spectrum, and obviously New Rally X and Mooncrester. There you go. So yeah, we're going through the database here. What we'll do is we will pause for a second, or I won't pause the video, but we'll fade in right at the end and carry on when this is fully installed. And here we are back in the room. It is doing ZX Spectrum there at the moment. That's got a few games in it, but you know, this whole process probably only takes, you know, a minute, maybe a couple of minutes to do. I have been keeping exact track on how long, but yeah, nearly there. So updating games database, ZX Spectrum, writing database to disk, and this is obviously the internal memory of your phone here that you've got, and you know it's doing it live. You know, this is my mobile phone that you can see it doing. So everything you see on this screen here is represented by what's happening on this phone. So nearly there. There you go, game database updated, and that was 140,000 games it had found. So right, what do we want to do? What we want to do, we want to program a couple of these. So, you know, we have got 2 blank cards that we're going to be using, and we're going to program them. So we are going to go to create. I've clicked on create there, which was at the bottom, and the only thing that we're going to do the easy ones in terms of what makes it easy, because I'm still learning this. We're going to go to all systems, and we did not have anything on the Atari 2600, so I'm going to select the Atari 2600 and do search, and you can see it searching away there, and I hope it will give a list of games. So these are everything that we've got on the Atari 2600. So we're going to click on Space Invaders, and there you go, we have Space Invaders there, System Atari 2600, and it says write to tag. So I am going to push write to tag there, and I'm going to hold the tag, and you see it says tag written successfully at the top. We are going to go back, I guess I'll scroll that down. We're going to go to create again, and we're going to search for a game, and we're going to pick something else. And what shall we pick? We'll do Mario. We'll do Mario. There's going to be a lot of Mario games. So we do Mario and we do search. And these tags, by the way, you can rewrite to them. You can lock them so they can never be rewritten as well, but you can rewrite to them, so it's very, very easy. And we've got all these Mario games, and I think we want one on the SNES. We want one on the Super Nintendo. God, it's such a lot of scrolling to do. Oh my word. Where is it? Where is it? You know what? I can't see one that I want. I can't see the SNES there. Alright, okay, let's do create again. Search for game, and we're going to change system to Nintendo. SNES, there we go. And we're going to do Super. We'll put Super Mario. We'll put Super Mario in. There you go, Super Mario. Boom, there you go. We've got quite a few Super Marios that we have here. And what shall we do? We're spoiled for choice. Good Lord, can you imagine how long it would take to play through all of these? Alright, yep, so we're going to pick this one here, and we're going to click on write to tag. I'm holding it up. There you go. It is done, tag written successfully. So what we're going to do now is we are going to, hang on, cancel that. We're going to cancel that. We're going to click on scan, and we click on prepare to scan. And remember, if you had one of these NFC devices plugged into your MiSTer that I showed you from AliExpress, all this would be, just built into the ecosystem. But enough of that, because it works from the phone as well. This may be ideal for you. So we're ready to scan, and we are going to flip back to the MiSTer FPGA. MiSTer FPGA has freshly rebooted, and we've created these 2 game cards. One is an Atari 2600 game, the other is a SNES game, and we're going to use Zaparoo against the launcher. But one thing I must show you is, if you look closely here, there's these 2 slider bars there. In short, both of those are slid across. One is continuous scanning and the other is launch on scan. So we're going to press to scan, and we're going to hold this card here. And what have we got? I don't know. I truly don't know. There we go, Space Invaders. So press to scan again, and we hold the other card there, and that should effectively be the Mario game. There we go, Mario has loaded. But let's talk about these two systems here. These are done slightly differently because these are the Sinclair Spectrum and the Commodore 64. You know, these are booting up the core systems so that we can have them running. We might want to create a new one of these, so we need to basically switch back to the mobile phone to do this. And with the mobile phone, we're going to use Zaparoo to do something just a little bit different. So here we are back on Zaparoo. We're going to go to Create and write a custom string. So I'm going to hold down, custom string, and paste. There we go. So what we've got here, I already writ that in Notepad just to put on there. So *launch.system : Atari 2600. We're going to take a blank card here and we're going to basically hold it up and we're going to do write to tag, and there you go, a little tick to say that it's done, So we click back on the scan and we've got the press to scan that we've got here. We need to flip back to the MiSTer FPGA. He'll be back with us in just one moment, and it should have the previously loaded game still there. There you go, Mario is still running there, and the phone says ready to scan. We hold that in there, and this will be booting up the Atari 2600 core, which uses the Atari 7800 core, because that does multiple systems, and that works. So there you go. We can create effectively a console-based system using NFC cards here, and you know, if you have a custom case or something like that and there's a little clue to what we're doing in the future, these will just slide in and work like a dream.
Welcome to the install video for the Ironclad for the MiSTer FPGA. The Ironclad is an ATX board that we are going to be running on our MiSTer FPGA. This is a standard looking MiSTer FPGA that is all set up and all working. You know, we can grab this joystick here and we can fire on a couple of things, bring up a menu, and we can go to arcade, and we can boot anything. Let's do 1941. It doesn't really matter what we're going to be booting for the sake of this demo, but it loads in and it's working absolutely fine. You'll be able to see it very sort of dimly on the small little screen that I've got there. Anyway, what we're going to do is we are going to take that system that we have here and we are going to install it onto this ATX board. Essentially what we're doing is we're taking the middle board of the stack, the Nano DE10, that's going to be installed on here, and this board comes with 3 parts that are probably fairly important. We've got this cable here. This cable will connect to this port and go onto the DE10. We've got this little device here. This is for the USB, and that's going to go there. And finally, we've got this here, which is a network cable, and that network cable is going to connect from the DE10 into this port here, and then we're going to fire up and we're going to get this going. What I've also designed is, you know, very crappily, I printed it very cheaply, so to speak, you know, quick rough print, and the print actually lifted as well on the bed, was this little board just to rest it on. The whole purpose of this is to give me a build board. The Nano D10, when it plugs into this, you've got a few ports available on the back of the case as well. So you've got USB, you've got audio out, you've got HDMI, you've got a couple more USBs, you've got the user I/O, and a few other things that you can see here as well. And it's also got 9-volt DC that's presented on the board here, and this is new to this version of the board. The link where you can get the Mini-ITX Ironclad Lite will be in the video description below. So without further ado, the first thing we need to do is we need to take this apart, and we need to basically get this on top of here. When you get this board, you'll notice that you've got this riser here, and if I flip the board over, it says grab from the connector to disconnect. This is a GPIO bridge that I don't think that we actually need. Actually, of course, yes, we do need it. Yes, we do need it. What I'm talking about. So if I hold on to here and it comes up, you can feel it turning very carefully there. It snaps out and nothing will be broken. Obviously, I don't want to break that USB one. Be very careful there. But yeah, this should come up. It should come up, he says. You know, careful bit of turn in there. All right, let's put it down and lift it up. You know what? I want to be a bit more careful with this. I will be right back. These, These are snips for 3D printing, so this will be ideal for the use for this. They should cut through that absolutely fine. There we go. And that is out. All I needed was a little bit of CAD in there. And actually that GPIO board will probably also be used for us. Yeah, we'll see where that goes. We'll see exactly where that goes. So without further ado, as they say, let's get on with the build by turning this off first of all. So that is off. And the first thing we are going to do is get our little screwdriver. And on the back of this ATX board, get rid of that. You've got these two screws, so these are going to be removed like so. And what happens with these is they get screwed back in just a moment's time once we put the back plate on, because the back plate isn't on by default. We've already shown you that, and that should fit nicely over there and line everything up. Now I'm not sure whether we should be doing the MiSTer first or not, so you know what we're going to do is, I know that shielding may come off as well. We're going to take that off, put that over there, and actually do the MiSTer FPGA first. All right, so that goes down there. And then we are going to take everything out of the MiSTer FPGA. Kill the power, kill the HDMI because that's not needed. And it should be a case of these 4 screws pop out. If you've bought one of these and you've assembled it yourself, you will know how it goes. If you haven't done, well, you get to see how they come apart. And it literally is going to be extremely quick to do. Building and setting these up, you know, takes zero time. That lifts off. We take away the 3 buttons that are not needed, so they go away. Let's put that over there as well. These sides will come out, and we can then start to undo these. I never did these in very tight when I did it. I didn't need to. These standoffs were never going to be really used or anything like that. All right. So these are stuck in because of the USB devices that we've got there. Come on. Now, one of the reasons I built, I had this together, how it was to have it working, was I wanted to be sure that the SD card on the Nano D10 was actually in place and working, and everything was configured as it should be. Because when we put this into this board here, we are not going to be in a position where we can get to the SD card very easily. All right, so we basically got to take this off here, and the memory can come off as well. So here we are, this side faces outward. Can we do it without taking the memory off actually? Let's give it a go. Okay, carefully. There we go. So that's there. And this board here, this is the IO board as well. That will come off because that's not needed anymore. Oh, careful. There we go. IO board is off. And this is our Nano D10 ready to go. So we're going to unscrew these items here. On, nearly there. Actually, that one's a bit tight. And the board is free, almost, right. The board is free now, so this is going to be installed on here. So what are we going to do next? What are we going to do next with this? I think the first thing we want to do is get the board installed, and we've got these 4 points where we can go onto here, and then we are going to put the back plates on, put this back plate on, and then we will hook it up onto here. Yep, actually no, first of all we're going to put this on here just to protect it a little bit. So hopefully I've got these holes okay and lined up and ready to go. If not, we have these kind of nylon type standees that I've used for this that I got off the internet. They should move a little bit. Yeah, that looks as if it's going to be fine. All right, so grab that, and I say this is just to protect it, just to have it something to sit on until we're in a position where we can actually put it in the keyboard that I know that I've got coming for Christmas. So these are funny little nylon type screws here, you know, they're transparent. You know, obviously they're not metal or anything like that, but they have a little bit of flex in them, which is suitable for a very easy project like this. You know, I got them from Amazon for about £9 for a very large box of these, more than what I will ever need, I think. But you know, I've got them, so that's good. But of course, they've got to go in the hole, haven't they? Come on. Where did it go? There it is. If they prove a pain in the neck, I will use metal ones. But, you know, I'm happy with these so far. In fact, I'm having a look here that the hole is actually a bit big. The hole is a bit big that you've got here. So these standees will go... Whoops. These standees will go all the way through. If I don't drop it on the floor. Yeah, they're going to be pointless. Damn it. Alright, best laid plans and all that. So, alright, let's put these back in their little box that they may have a use at some point in the future. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cheat by I'm going to get some more standees that were already present in this box, some nylon ones here. And we've got these 4 now, and I think we can use those because they're going to be a little bit wider to screw everything in place. There we go. That works fine. That works absolutely fine. I was always taught to screw diagonally when you were screwing things in. I might as well go with what I was taught to see whether it does work. Alright, so that's sort of there. Is that one going to go in as well? I say this is just to hold everything in place. And we'll put the last one in here. Not perfect, but we've got our board. And yeah, that can rest on there to at least protect the bottom of it for what we're looking to do. Okay, so first course of action is to get our Nano DE10 board installed on here. So looking at the ports that we've got, we know that we've got an HDMI that goes here. So this is going to be at the back. Perfect. And we're going to take the original screws that we had from the MiSTer FPGA from the top of the case that we use, and we're going to use that to put these in place here. Fortunately, these are magnetic and not nylon, so we don't have the original problems that we had with the nylon ones. Come on, in you go. Do you not want to go in? Are you a different size, I wonder? Let's take that off for a moment. Is there? Ah, there seems to be a little bit of cellophane on the tops of all of these. I don't understand why they're not screwing in. It should have pierced that cellophane straight away. Alright, so now we've popped the cellophane on these four standees. We're going to go again. Hopefully with 100% more success. I can't believe it didn't pop it on its way down. You know, it should have done. All right, perfect. Number one is in. So you can get an extra large heatsink for this that I was thinking of using, but I've got a bit of a challenge. I have this real-time clock on my MiSTer FPGA and I want to keep the real-time clock, so I'll probably leave it off and use that. But I know the case is going to have fan cooling as well, so you know, we're not exactly going to be in a position where this thing is going to get way too hot. Now, what I've just realized, and mistakes happen when you're rushing to do things, is we haven't put in the USB port here. So fortunately we've only done 2 screws of the 4 screws that we need to do, and it's a very, very easy fix. But we need to connect this USB port here to this connector here. There we go. And while we've got this up, I think this here is a heat probe. I've got a gut feeling that that is a heat probe. All right, so let's carefully push those in. You can see them going in there, I hope. And we're back in a position to screw this back together if I don't knock the screws everywhere. You know, I don't know if it's charm, but I'm doing this live, so to speak, here, and I don't know how much I'll edit the video. You know, there was a bit of gap where I walked away to get these. You know, that will probably be edited out and just very quickly merged together. But I think I'll probably get what I'm feeling at the moment is keep it all together just so that you can see how these works, how these things are built, so to speak. See the errors that I make, and you know, it's not snip, 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 fast, fast, fast. It's done in a way that, you know, you can see how all of it is slowly put together by me. So if you do choose to order one of these boards, then you're in a position where you can follow along with this and you get everything you need. Now, there is a plus version of this board that currently is unavailable, and the plus version has tape out, and we are going to be using tape out as well, even though you think, well, how can you do this? You know, you don't have that. Well, we do actually have that, because on, let me get it undone. On this board here, the IO board, we had a tape out module that I think will plug into here quite happily if we've got that set up, and if it does work, we will be able to use this for a little bit of fun as well. So anyway, one more screw and the tape out was here. You know, I would have actually liked it if it did keep it, but you know, you can't have everything in the world. You can't have everything in the world. So right, that is screwed on there. So that's our Nano DE10 board there, and you know, you've got the ports here that you can see. Let's turn that around a little bit, and we now need to put the back plane on here. So the first thing we want is the shield. And the shield goes there, and then we get the back plane, and that should pop on quite nicely if all our ports are lined up. And there we go. I think that does. So now we need to find, where did I put these? There we go. So one can go there, one can go there. We probably need to tighten these up. We swap the head of our screwdriver very easily, one-handedly. Put that there. Oops, slipped a little bit. But we don't even really need the screwdriver. We don't even really need the screwdriver. And then that's there. And that, to me, everything looks in a really, really good place. So that's going to pop back down for a moment. And we got the USB connected here. We showed you the network cable as well. That's going to go here and here. So, you know, we'll pop that in just now. Bang. And there it goes. And then we've got this cable here that's going to plug directly into the MiSTer FPGA. Now, where does it go? It's not going to go in there because there's too many pins, so it can only go in there. And then we'll just bring that down to here. And that is firmly connected. So yeah, we are very nearly done with this. We are very, very nearly done. But there's a couple more bits to do. So we've got this board here that I thought, yeah, we don't need this at the beginning. Well, we will need this because we've got to get the D10 talking on this bus here. So I think this is for the functionality that you have for the reset menu and user. Not 100% certain, but we'll just push that down. It should rest on there and push quite nicely to be there. But it's not going in yet. Is there a problem? Is there a problem? Houston, do we have a problem? Does it go all the way down even? Does it need to? Yeah, I think it does. All right, wiggle you up. Okay, let's start from here. Everything is lined up. I'm looking here at the lines that you can see here. There's still a gap to go on the right. There we are. Eventually did it. It takes a little bit more force, but if you look, you're not going to see it. But if you look very clearly here, there's a couple of millimeters that it doesn't go all the way down on this board that's securely there. So I think that is absolutely fine. So next steps is we need to have a look to see whether this is actually going to work. So the screen is there, we can see that. Let's move that out the way. Let's move that out the way. And oh, and by the way, if you're putting this in a slimline ATX board, you can cut this here. There's a little line here to actually make that fit as well. So we want to put HDMI in here. On in you go, and we want to put power on this side. All right, now I don't expect this to work when I power on because we are missing one key thing, but we're going to give it a go. So I flip the power on there, and it has power to the board. It's got power to the board. Have we got anything here? Is this TV working? So we've got no signal on here. This has just got power to the board, but it's not come on. But that's kind of what I expected. And why did I expect that? Well, think, this is an ATX type case, and ATX cases, they have power switches, which we haven't got. You know, we don't have that, but we do have that because we've got this little product that I've got here. This product should give us temporarily, I hope temporarily, power and LED. So I'm having a look here, and we've got LED there, power LED and power there. So I think it's going to be those two ports that we have. All right, so let's undo this. And the power switch can go there. And then these two effectively can just sit on the end right here. All right, perfect. And now we have this little switch that might do the job we need it to do. So we're going to power on again. And there you go. It is booting up, I think. Have we got life on here? There! MiSTer FPGA is working on here. So this board is absolutely working. So we're going to just pause here for 1 second while I do a little bit of tidying up here, just to get things going as they should be, get things how I want them to be. In fact, we'll turn off just for a moment. There you go. Double click on that little button to turn it off. I think it turned it off. We have to assume it turned it off. But all these lights are still on. It reset. You know what? We'll turn it off there. So here we are back in the room. Now, one of the things that you saw on the demonstration of the keyboard we had was NFC working. Well, this is basically an early build of the NFC reader here and this cable that I've got here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to test the NFC still works. So we're going to plug this into, where shall we plug it into? We don't have that many ports, so to speak, yet, because we haven't got the keyboard fully loaded up. I think we can probably get this into the back. So there we go. We'll put this into the back there. All right, and we are also going to go to our MiSTer FPGA that we had before and find the two USB devices that we had here. So this one here just temporarily can go there. Is that going to go in? It's a bit tight. Oh, I don't want to struggle with that later. All right, that can go in the back. If we just take a look here, was there two there? Yes, that can go in the back there. Ooh. This is not going to be a problem on the final case, by the way. And finally, I had one more USB port, which is somewhere around here. Oh my God, what a mess I make. What a mess I make. Yep. And we put the second one in here. There we go. Second one goes in there, straight down, hopefully. All right, perfect. Now, what we're going to do is I want to test this NFC reader to make sure everything is working as it should be. Power on the board there. Power on there. Wait for the screen to go there. And the MiSTer FPGA has just booted up, so we are going to get Pac-Mania that we've got here. Hold it across. And there is Pac-Mania for us working as well. Can we have some volume, I wonder? Okay, that wasn't volume, that was a different button. Worst things happen at sea when you do these videos. There you go. We've got Pac-Man working quite happily there. Now, we mentioned, let's turn that down, we mentioned, actually I turned it off, then I did the same bloody thing again. What a twat. I pushed the auto button there to get it to come back. This little screen is a little bit flaky at times. In fact, you know what? We will just reset. It's this screen. This screen, as I say, gives me a fair bit of trouble once in a while. It's behaved for a little bit, but yeah, could be a little bit better. Alright, so one of the things that we mentioned was I was very interested in having to do tape input. You know, that is quite important to me here. And on the back of this board, you know, we've got this little module that I want to try and get off without probably having the right tools available to me. But we will have a look. We will have a look. Or I might be able to. Yes. Alright, so that will come off. I don't know why the screen hasn't come up on my misbehaving screen. We'll give it a moment. We have to give it a moment. We have no choice but to give it a moment. And we'll pop that back down there. And that can go over there for the moment. Alright, let's take another look at this screen. What are we not doing? What are we not doing? Power. Let's try you. Oh, yep, that's a bit loud. So that's the background music I have playing on my MiSTer FPGA, which is there no more. So yeah, I'm very interested in seeing whether we can put a use to this particular module because the port doesn't exist there for this. So we are going to shut down the MiSTer FPGA and we are going to put this literally just there. So it used to screw into the upper part of this board case, but it doesn't anymore. Let's do a little power on. In fact, not do a power on because I need to find something to use. There you go, we are nearly there. We are going to be using this keyboard to do a little bit of control. And something else I've got in my hand, I hope, I truly hope, which is going to need some power from over here. Dear Lord, struggles, struggles, struggles. There we are. So that is just out of shot for you. You can see the corner of whatever I care about just there. Power this back on. Okay, oh, and power the MiSTer on with our little switch. That helps a lot, doesn't it? Alright, so there's our MiSTer. Alright, using this keyboard here that we've got over here that you can just see the corner of, we are going to cursor down and we are going to go into computer. I'm going to go into ZX Spectrum. I actually want a bit of volume for this actually, unfortunately, so hopefully it's not going to be too loud and we'll see how it comes. Come on, that's volume, there we go. And we're going to go into tape loader. Now what we have here is this lead will plug eventually, in fact let's plug it into here. So we're plugging that lead into there. That already tells me that I need to do something about the slippy cable that we've got here. And we're going to plug this lead into there. And here we are, we're going to hit play. I always love the idea of being able to load things into your MiSTer. You know, it's so cool to do this. This is an Arduino, I believe it's pronounced, data player that you have here. and we'll just let the title screen go, and they will kill it at that point, because you don't want to see the whole game load in. But Sinclair Spectrum games loading in, and that cable will help me be able to do this going forward. Nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. So I stop that. So what we have is we have this data player that allows me to load in games to a Sinclair Spectrum. We've got this card reader that allows me to load in games to the Sinclair Spectrum. So we are very blessed in terms of how we can do this, what we can do, and games that we can put in. One game that I always loved, I don't think I've done a video of it on the channel, is there was a game called Software Star by Kevin Toms. We could just pop that over there and boom, it's going to load in. There you go. So obviously a lot quicker than using the tape drive, but that was a bit of fun and games to actually show you. Time to power off one final time, I think, I hope. And this is working really well, but we're going to take that out because we don't need it for the next demo. We do not need this for the next demo. What we need is this little board here. So this little board that you can see here is an audio booster. I've got this, I bought this, I thought, yeah, let's go for this one. I bought this board. You can get this with a lot of other things as well. And we thought, yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see how it works. So maybe I'm just being a bit anal here, but I'm actually unplugging the power for this one. And that goes on there. This is meant to give better audio. Now, all we've got is we've only got the tinny audio on that speaker, so it's going to be quite hard to tell. But we've got the MiSTer, and we know that it plays music on the menu. So let's plug that back in, turn that on, hit the button here, and wait and see what happens. So hopefully this screen will pop into life in a moment's time. So that's down to volume 1. Let's turn it up to volume 3. I'm not 100% certain how that sounds. So we are going to go in and we're going to pick a game. I know it's a bit loud, but it's just for the purpose of trying to hear it. I need to start the game. I need to start the game to get it playing. Right, there we go. It was in demo mode. You know what? I'm quite happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, let's kill that. Alright, so that's there, and that works. We're just going to do a reset. Did that turn it off, or was that the reset? There's an action with this board. It does multiple different things, depending on how many times you hit the buttons and what you do, and that was a reset. Alright, so we have got, let's have a look. Where are we? Our IP address is there. That's absolutely fine. 22nd of December 2126. That sounds about right to me. Okay, and that completes the installation of the ironclad board. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I say a little bit different to what we've done, and I'll leave it in pretty much, not mistakes because there wasn't really any mistakes, but some of the faffing around that we did, so you could see how simple it is and some of the challenges that you can have doing this. But I would say that this board is very, very much ready to be going into my system. I did buy some additional stuff. I did have the MiSTer Pi hat that I bought for this and a couple of other things, but I bought those parts to get them while you can, and we're just going to build on this as we go. But yeah, very, very happy with how this turned out. Very happy that we can load in games using this particular module that you have here, that you plug in, that was not part of the ironclad or anything, even though it came on an old system. Hi-Fi Boost seems to be working well. This little device I found on Amazon, it's so sweet, but it worked to do what we need to do, and you've even got the power there, the flashing power, and various other bits and pieces. So yes, we will wrap this up here. But yeah, I'm pleased with this purchase. I look forward to putting it into the proper case, not having it on this platform that we've got. But for the moment, yeah, everything is in a good place. So here we are. I can now say finally Christmas Day has passed and I have got my Commodore C64X case unpacked. You've seen basically a very brief unboxing video to actually see what the contents of the box, what you get with it. The one thing that was not showed with it is hidden in the box comes this bag with all these adapters that you've got here to put these cable ties through, and the relevant screws that you need. We don't need those yet, or at least I don't think we need those yet. So having a look at this, what we have is we have this port here. This port here contains 2 USB devices. We don't need these particular devices for the moment sticking out here. So what we've created is basically this little panel here, and this little panel will replace that there, so everything should be nice. And on the flip side, without dropping this, dear Lord, I don't want to drop this, we've got a blank bezel there. So to go into this bezel, we have this little panel here that's basically got a UFC reader, sorry, NFC, not Ultimate Fighting Championship, near NFC reader, and an audio cable there as well. So all of that will need to be replaced. So we're going to very delicately put this down and we're going to be ready to go. First thing we do is we lift off the top, and it feels so solid. Oh my god, this feels really, really solid when you do this. I don't want to break anything, obviously. So that lifts off, and underneath there you've got some keyboard connections and some power connections that you can see. That will be put to the side just for the moment. And then we have a fan. It comes with the fan already, and it comes with a little plate for the fan as well, which is rather nice. It just rounds it off quite neatly there. And yeah, this is injection molded, I believe. It feels solid, it feels good. It's going to be a beauty to actually have this. First thing we want to do is we want to remove this, because on the MiSTer board that we're using, we don't have this particular connector. That connector is not correct for what we want. We need a connector that looks something like this. So we're going to be taking this off and getting rid of that. Let's do that now. So theoretically, it's just these 2 screws that will come out here, and this one here. It's actually quite tight in there. I'm not going to do these too tight when we put them back together, because this is plastic and I don't want any cracks or anything. And you know what, as far as I've said, it won't be opened all the time, so it should be absolutely fine. And that lifts out, and we can remove that off, and that is gone. That is now rubbish. What we want to put in place is our little panel that we've got here that has been 3D printed. I will make the STL available for what I use for that, so if you choose, you could do that yourself. I used PETG for the printing, and it's held together really, really well. And a little tip, I was having my printing lift off the print bed, so if you turn the cooling fan to 0, for some strange reason the prints don't lift off the print bed anymore, and it's all rather spectacular. So yeah, we've got one screw in there that fits absolutely perfectly, and we will find the other screw that we've got here, and we will dump this down in here, and boom, there we go. Everything as neat as it should be. So the next thing we want to be adding is the other panel that we've got for the left hand side, and this is the device that I've got here. Again, PET-G used to print this, and there's a couple of nodules on each side. You should be able to see those little white dots. I don't know how well they come out. Theoretically, these are just going to slip in to here and there. I don't know how easy this is going to be to do. I've not done this before. I hope they don't snap off. All right, let's do the top ones first. But we'll turn this around so we have a better angle and get these cables out the way. So we're looking at sliding these two nodules that you see into the holes that you have down here. So perfect, that one has gone in fine. Okay, and let's just push this back. Hope there is some flex. Oh no, that one's bending. There you go, finally in. That took a little bit of work here. This is really solid, this. And as you can see, we've got that there, and that fits nicely. And this side fits rather nicely. All right, so I'm moving these cables out the way. We will need those very, very shortly. Now, previously on the video, sorry, not previously, previously we have built this ATX board that we have here. This is going to go into the back that way round to basically complete the build for the MiSTer FPGA. But the first thing that we need is we want to find the 4 screws for the system board, which is going to go in there, 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 and there. We'll be using at least 3 of those. Now maybe 4, yeah, it will take 4. We'll use all 4 of those. So it's these 4 that we'll be using. We have no use for these cable ties at the moment. And this device I had here, these have got nylon standees, so they will just pop out, so to speak. And this was just used to protect the board during the installation of it, the configuration of it, and the setup of it. Come on, out you come. 2. Why is that one so tight? It doesn't matter about that one. We'll deal with that one in a minute. You know what? Maybe they've actually screwed themselves in. There we go. That's out, and we've got one more to worry about. There we go. So this board here is the heart of the system that we have here. So we're just going to turn it around, and there's a little, is there a little nodule? Yeah, there's a little nodule here where the base plate should slide in. So we just flip it around very carefully without losing those screws. And you can slide it in the little gaps that it has present, if I can manage it. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. There we go. No. Yes. No. Is that all the way in? Yeah, I think that is. I think that's exactly where we need that to be. Alright, so do we have the 4 screw holes lined up? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we do. And as before, everything gets screwed in diagonally. I don't plan on unscrewing these again anytime in the future. We can do these ones up probably a little bit tighter as well. As soon as the screws tighten, I'm just stopping at that point, obviously because this is plastic and I do not want to shred any plastic in any shape or form. And that is absolutely perfect. So we're going to flip it around again, and this is our installed MiSTer FPGA. This is the power switch that we used as a temporary measure just to make sure that it worked before. We'll be checking it out again in a moment's time. But first thing we want to do is we want this to be plugged into the system board. This is the NFC reader, not the UFC. So the NFC reader can go all the way through here, under here. And is it going to be the right way? Yes, it is. And we'll plug that one into there. Now on the back we've got a couple of USB ports that you can see here. Those have got a couple of things in already. I'm just considering my options on what we can do. I don't really want to be plugging things in and out of the USB. I don't think it's needed that much to do this. So what we're going to do is we are going to think, what do we want internally? Well, we need the NFC reader to be internal. That's an absolute gotcha for regards to this. And we've got two additional USB ports that we could use. So this device here will plug into here on the system board, and that gives me two more USB ports that we can use. So I'm thinking, what am I thinking? I'm thinking we've actually got two on the back, so we're going to take these out for the time being and we will put them into here. So for the moment everything will be internal on the MiSTer FPGA, and these two ports, one could be used for maybe a Wi-Fi adapter or something like that, should I choose to want to use one in the future. But no, I think that's fine. And this little shell here will have this cable fed into it. So we're plugging in the mouse and we're basically plugging in, this was the Bluetooth, and that's going to go in there, and that will feed neatly under there. Alright, so we've now got to get this out of the way, which is the keyboard stuff. We will be using that again in a moment. And fan, well, we've got a 3-pin option here, and we've only got one 3-pin option on the system board, which goes here. There we go. So we will now have a fan. In fact, you know what? Let's keep our cabling a little bit tidier. So that can go under there. That can go under there. And now it will plug in very, very nicely. This cable here, this is a bit of a long cable, unfortunately. This cable here was for the tape in and out, the tape out, rather, the tape in, so we can load games on tape. That plugs into that little module here. And, you know, we could use cable ties, but everything's going to be hidden away by this. So we'll just slot those in there, under there as well. And that fits quite nicely. That could wrap around and just sit there and have a nice gentle curve to it. And I think we are almost in business with this. So the first thing I want to do is actually check that everything works. That's going to be quite important here. So we are going to make sure we are still in a good place. This is a monitor that we had used for the initial setup of this when we were migrating this. It's got a little on-off switch. You know, is it on at the moment? Yes, is it on? Yes, it is on at the moment. We'll plug that into the HDMI port at the back, and we will put the power into the power. Okay, we'll turn the power on, and we have a little red light there. Is red good? I thought that was blue before. Is red good? Let's check. There we go, now it's blue. That's what we expected, and we will hope this little screen will eventually boot up with something. I mentioned before on another video this screen is flaky, but there you go. There it is, working, absolutely working fine. Now, the one thing I don't like is we basically have a flashing light on here. Now, I read that these other two pins, that pin there, basically on the other side of this cable is an alternate power LED. So we're just going to turn off. Again, it's probably easier just to turn off by that. Take that and they're two you've got here, and we will plug them in very carefully on this side. Right, so they're in there. Let's see how this goes. Power on. And perfect. That has stayed, well, it's not pulsating anymore. And I think that is just staying a solid colour. And that's what, well, solid colour because it will change, but it wasn't flashing anymore. So yeah, we're in a good place there. Now, looking at this screen, we can see we got a network address here, and that's because I've got a static IP address on it. But we've got the Bluetooth that's there. So if I get my Bluetooth keyboard, we should be, in fact, we'll use a controller. We can use a controller. We get this controller here. We can move up and down everywhere we want to be going here. So I now need to test this reader here to make sure that that reads okay. So the idea with this was that I would just basically slide it in there and it would load a game. You take it out and the game would be loaded, and there you go. Bubble is working here as well. So that is good. That is extremely good for what we want. Now, next task is we need to connect this keyboard to the MiSTer FPGA. So just a power off again that we're going to have here. And how are we going to do this? Well, if we flip this over, on the back you've basically got power and power LED stuff here. We need to put those connectors on here, but we also need to connect up this connector. Now this presents a challenge that has just occurred to me because of the amount of USB ports that we've got on the system. Obviously the keyboard needs to be connected internally, so we are going to have to move one of these USB ports that we've got here, and the keyboard will be plugged into this, and that's absolutely fine because you know that we have room on the back. It's not as if it's a challenge for us to do, so we're just going to pull that out and just let that swing free for a moment. And we'll take the smallest one that we've got here that was for the mouse, and we'll just gently plug that in there. So this means we have to do another test. So MiSTer FPGA back on, power on, and now we need to check to make sure that this mouse is working here. So turn the mouse on, there we go, flashing away, and that probably won't do anything on there, but using the power of this, we are going to load into the computer using PC x86. That we're going to have to, how do we hit return? Here we go. We use this keyboard here that should have a Bluetooth connection. Hit return, and that boots. Most importantly, we've got this mouse here, and you can see us moving it around on the screen. So yeah, I would say that is absolutely working. So power off again, and now we worry about, the keyboard connector to get this keyboard over here on this side here connected on top. That's the basic final thing that we want to be doing. How do we do this? We have this adapter here that basically will convert the back end connection of this keyboard into USB that will then be plugging into there. So carefully move all of this out the way for the moment. Flip this over. Now, what have we got? Push that up just a little bit. Right, under here we've got this little connector. Usually you could just pull these wires through and they will release those connectors quite easy. And is it going to do it? Ah, it's still too tight, isn't it? Come on. There you go. A little bit of effort in there, and that can stay where it is. And these two will be connecting to the motherboard, but we need to connect to this. Now I'm seeing 4 wires here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the connector that we're using, we've basically got 4 wires as well. So how does this work? Let's push those 4 wires into there and see whether this is actually going to work. Maybe I brought the wrong thing here. Turn this over and power on again. Hit the power for the MiSTer. And I think you saw a flash very briefly. There you go, there's a flash there. Okay, wait for the MiSTer to boot up. And there you go. Keyboard is working as it should. Doesn't that look beautiful? Doesn't that look beautiful? Alright, happiness, power off. Carefully turn over. So we are going to take these 2 cables that we have here, push them onto these 2 connectors, and then what are we going to do? We are then going to flip it over very carefully. So first thing I want to do is disconnect that, so we've got a little bit of working space. The 2 power LED connectors trying to keep power permanently on are going to go here. Perfect. And the power button is actually on here as well. So basically the old LED on is the power button for the Commodore 64. And we are going to put that, in fact that went the other way, I think. We're going to put that power switch just there. So theoretically, apart from the keyboard, we are ready to fly. So we'll move this out of the way because we don't need this anymore. We'll give this a bit of length. There we go. Neatly undone. I perhaps should have done that before. And looking at the 4 connectors that we've got and the 1 blank one, that again goes down there. And we should be able to take this adapter and just neatly put it there. And I think that is us ready to roll. So very carefully put this on top. In fact, I'm just going to disconnect everything as we go about, gently getting everything settled into place. So that is locked down. That is locked down. Our MiSTer FPGA is in the Commodore 64 case. So looking at the back, this is what we've got here. All looks pretty good to me. Let's turn it around actually so you can read it the right way up. You can see how neatly that goes in. We've got this blanking plate here that works like a dream. The front is sealed very nicely. And then this part here. So the final screws. So we've got 6 screws that come in the bag. So as usual, it's going to be very carefully diagonals to do these. And there we go. Our MiSTer FPGA is in its brand new home. Absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But we've got a couple more things we want to be doing on here. So this is a lot of money, this setup. This setup is a lot of money. So I'm worried about wear and tear on the ports that you have here. You know, I don't want too much exposure to doing this. So, you know, this system here is going to sit effectively you know, covered up when I don't particularly need it. There you go, we've got a lovely little case here that this sits on. So this is going to sit covered up when we don't particularly need it, but I don't want to keep damaging these ports. And you won't damage these ports by every once in a while, but you look at the amount of videos that I do, you know, it could be a lot of wear and tear. So using this power connector here, which has got an on-off switch, we are only going to be interfacing with that going forward. HDMI, we've got this little adapter here, so again we will just be plugging into here rather than at the back. And the same with the network cable if we need it. And you could be thinking, well, you know, what's the point if you're going to be doing it so much? I worry about things that perhaps I shouldn't need to worry about in life, and this is one of them. So that goes in there, that goes in there, and that goes in there. I'm not going to be sat looking at the back, but unless it's actually for maintenance, those cables that you've got at the back won't need to come out again. And it's always going to have cables plugged in there anyway. But no, this is just a little bit of extra security as we plug that in there. Haven't got a network cable attached at the moment, but we plug that in there and we power on. And you can see we have a little red light just glowing. Can you see it? Probably not. A little red light just glowing on the bottom of the case to say that's there. We hit that and it boots up. It is booting up. Let's bring the screen a little bit closer so we can see what we've got on the screen. There we go. Everything is as it should be. Can move around with that and do everything we want. Now, to complement the setup that we've got here, I use this controller here, and this is already set up and it can move up and down. But let's boot into a computer. Let's go to a ZX Spectrum, just for sake of argument here, and we are going to go to 128K basic. Actually, here we are. Does that work? Does that work? Yes, that does work. Now, what I'm looking to demonstrate here with this is some cores, some consoles, and I think the ColecoVision is one. You basically have a situation where you have a gamepad that you can't use because it wants like 1:9 on the gamepad. Well, I got myself this from AliExpress, and if we just turn this on, it's a K21 device, whatever that means, but it will link via Bluetooth as well. You could change the color on the keyboard, but you know, I'm guessing that, you know, I can just do things on here. Actually, where's number lock? Where is number lock? There is number lock. Okay, well, it's got various functions. You can see it changing stuff on what we're doing here, but yeah, you can see the brakes, but that will work on some things. You know, not a great demo to do there, but that will sit by that, and we'll basically have that red in color as well. The keyboard here, you can change all the flashing and everything else. Not 100% sure how to do it, so I'm just going to have a quick look in the manual that came with it, the Commodore 64 Bare Bones User Guide. So it doesn't say in the manual, but they release various versions of this case, and this is the LED one. My guess is we hold down the function and some keys around here. Oh, there you go. Flashing. Fading. Okay, there's going to be a lot of things going on here, isn't there? So yeah, we can basically have, you know, all kinds of very pretty effects that we've got. I like these ones where when you type on a keyboard, it sends a few lights to what you've got here. Now, if we take this number pad here, and where was the function on this? I might be able to change this. There we go. So we've got the nice red keyboard there. We've got the red joystick here, and we've got the red on anything we do. So if you say, am I pleased with this? I am over the moon with this. I'm absolutely over the moon with this. I have noticed that, you know, the power light isn't on here, which is a bit annoying, but you can, that's fine. Actually, that's fine. Do I want the power light on there? We know the power light works. It has multiple functions at different amounts of times that you actually push this. Do we want the power light on? Yes, we do want the power light on. Let's get that fixed. So for maintenance, because we're doing what we need to do, that's going to be powered off. That will be taken out. That will be taken out. That will be taken out. We will undo God knows how many bloody screws. So here we are, all screws taken out. Carefully, we lift the lid off. And I'm going to take that power connector and just swap it 360 degrees. Actually, not 360 degrees, 180 degrees. Alright, we will plug in just the power and turn it on. And there you go. Alright, that boots on. We'll take that. And that is working. Alright, power off. So the power connector was on the wrong way around. Basically, I swapped the two pins around and everything was fine after that. And here we are, the C64X is finally assembled. Everything as it should be. Thank you for going on this little bit of a journey with us.
Please like, share and please like, share and subscribe to this channel.